He's got Armia with him. He shoots. He scores.
In front, Carson scores!
And strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of the Pucks and Pine Tar podcast. I'm Blake Frazier alongside my co-host Seth Hagen. Seth, opening week of baseball. We're going to obviously talk about a lot of surprises, maybe some teams that are struggling out of the gate. We'll talk about the Vancouver Canucks COVID situation and a little bit about the Masters. And we're going to get into a debate. A guy behind your left shoulder, right shoulder. Can Ovechkin break Wayne Gretzky's goal record? We'll talk about that in the episode. But Seth, let's talk about the Orioles and Red Sox series quick here. The Orioles sweep the Red Sox, outscore them 18-5. This is the worst start at home for the Red Sox at Fenway since 1948. I know you follow the Red Sox a little bit. What was your thoughts on the series?
So these games early in the season, game 1, 2, 3, you tend to not really put a lot of stock into it. People say it's a 162 game season.
Right.
We'll get it figured out, but it's not like these guys lost to the Blue Jays or lost to the Tampa Bay Rays, so they have 3 games coming up against here now.
Right.
They lost to the Baltimore Orioles, one of the teams that has been kind of at the bottom, if not the bottom of the league for a few years. So you could start the media train in Boston a little earlier than some markets, and they're going to get the tough questions asked about them. You look at the scores, put up absolutely 0 runs in the first game, only put up, 2, 3. So maybe the trend is they're going to score more each game, but you also gave up 11 on Sunday to a Baltimore offense, which start the season you weren't afraid of.
Right.
So, yes, it's early. Hitting the panic button is not how people in baseball should be reacting, but they're going to because of the opponent, I think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, John Means was terrific in that Thursday opener. The Red Sox couldn't touch him. I think he went seven innings, no runs. He was brilliant. But I mean, the guys that they threw in the second and third game, not much of a name, and the Red Sox still couldn't really put much offense together. So we both predicted this Red Sox team finished 4th in the AL East. So I don't see them being very competitive this year. I mean, they're on paper they're not bad, but the pitching staff just scares me a lot. I don't know who's going to get outs for them. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure in the AL East, which we probably both watch a little closer than the other divisions because of who we watch. But so you wouldn't be worried if you're a Red Sox fan or no?
I wouldn't be worried because your expectation going in the season shouldn't have been World Series or bust. So
right.
Obviously the weather, early in the season, you could say all offense is affected, by the cold weather in Boston. They didn't start the road down south. They started the season up north, but the weather was fine. So you can't blame the weather on a slow offensive start. As far as pitching goes, you knew the pitching wasn't going to be great, but you thought maybe your bats could, JD Martinez, guys like that could really make up for some pitching. Right. But when you score 0 runs, 2 runs, I mean, that's not going to get it done in today's major leagues.
Well, let's shift over to the Angels and the White Sox series. The Angels maybe surprisingly take 3 of 4 from the White Sox. We got to talk about Yermin Mercedes. This kid just came out of the gates on fire. He came in with no MLB hits, and in his first game of the year, he went 5 for 5. Which is crazy. He started the season 8 for 8, the first modern player to do so, I think since 1900, I think I read on Twitter, which is absolutely nuts. He cooled off a little bit. Ohtani got him, I think he struck him out 3 times last night, but what was your thoughts on that kid?
So anytime you can bring up anything hasn't been done since 1900. And in baseball, you have to pay attention because baseball is a sport where every single thing you think has happened.
Right.
Every single quirk, there's a stat for it. Every single start, every single end up to a game, they've all ended in any possible way imaginable. And for someone to go 8 for 8 and have that have never been done before is amazing. It's awesome. Did he have a hard time against Ohtani? Yes. Ohtani was dealing that day.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't blame the young kid. But to start 8 for 8, people in Chicago, started worrying with the injury to the center fielder. They started, and then this start happens with this young kid, and all it makes a fan do, and all it makes a front office do is take a deep breath and say, we got this season. We're still going to be good. We're still going to compete.
Right.
So it's just sort of like extra free. It's like a free bonus when all of a sudden a young kid like this goes 8 for 8.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ohtani here. You brought him up there. He was dealing on Sunday Night Baseball last night for sure. He's hitting 100 on the radar, and he cracks a first pitch home run. First pitch he sees last night out of the ballpark. This is definitely the player that they envisioned when they signed Ohtani. It was awesome to see him in the 2-hole and pitching. Like, that's something that you just don't see anymore, right? Maybe in the 40s and 50s and 60s you might have saw that a lot, but I mean, in 2021 it's probably something very low on my list that I would see in a baseball game in my lifetime for sure. So if Ohtani can do that and he can be electric and hitting 100 and hitting bombs, I mean, that's going to go a long way for this Angels team for sure.
So just some other crazy stats on Ohtani. He threw a splitter at 93.
Yeah.
He had 8 pitches in this start, 8 pitches over 100 miles an hour, which is the most pitches over 100 miles an hour since 2008 by any pitcher. Right. And he hit, as far as pitching-wise, unheard of. And then his batting.
Right.
And I have this written down here.
Wasn't 110 off the bat, 115?
It was 115 off the bat, exit velocity, which you guys as fans of Major League Baseball better get used to hearing this. Every announcer talk about exit velo, exit velocity. It's the new popular
launch
term.
Angle and StatCast and
yeah. If the ball goes, I don't care if the ball goes over the fence on a pop fly or on a laser line drive. I don't care what the exit velocity is. Did it go over? Okay, good.
Yeah.
But just to put the insane start into perspective, hitting 108 times and then hitting 115 exit velo with a 93 mile an hour splitter. It's his first start of the year, so obviously fatigue's not, playing a factor. He's fresh still from spring training, but it's still an amazing start. Unfortunately, it ended how it ended.
Yeah,
he did tell. I don't know if it was him or if it was Joe Madden that updated it, but he did say that he requested to stay in the game.
Right.
So that's a good sign for Angels fans that he's not hurt again, as has kind of been his MO these last couple seasons.
Right.
So him saying, I would like to stay in the game, keep pitching, is a good sign still. Yep.
Yeah. So, he exited in the 5th inning, play collision with Jose Abreu, came up limping, left the game, but they did say after the game that it was not too serious. So, yeah, Ohtani just is coming off Tommy John last year, didn't pitch at all last year. So, it's nice to see him back on the mound and him being electric. Let's talk about the Phillies sweeping the Atlanta Braves, a team that I predicted to win this division by a lot. The Braves just had bad approaches all series long. I didn't watch as much of this series as the others, but the Phillies pitching was dominant. I mean, Nola went 6 2/3 solid. Wheeler went 7 shutout innings. Eflin went 7 shutout innings. Freddie Freeman started 0 for 9 at the dish, 3 walks. So that's a little bit uncharacteristic for him. But maybe the Phillies are have a little chip on their shoulder this year.
So, as I was saying with the Red Sox and the start of, it's 3 games, but it's 3 games against Baltimore, so you're bad. These 3 games for Atlanta going you know, 0-3. But you look at the scores, they're 2-run games. They didn't get blown out. It's 2-1, 3-2. I mean,
right.
So it's nothing when you go back in the dugout and you move on. They hopefully play the Mets on Monday here. When you move on to play New York, you're not hanging your head as much as you are in Boston per se. You know, it was close. Freddie Freeman's going to be okay. No one should be worrying ever about Freddie Freeman going 0-9. He still plays the field well. First base is locked down. Still got on base with those 3 walks. Like you said, he's going to be fine.
Right.
The offense is going to come, but for your pitchers only give up, I mean, they didn't get blown out as a staff altogether. So I think it's okay in Atlanta still.
Did you get a chance to watch any Blue Jays games?
Well, yeah, I'm in Canada, of course.
Yeah, they I was surprised. I thought they took 2 or 3 from the Yankees. The Yankees obviously shorthanded in that bullpen. They want to start where Garrett Cole started, which they did not do once last year, which is a good sign to start.
And they beat Kluber in his start too, right?
They beat Kluber.
Yep.
No, actually,
thought they did.
They lost that one. They lost that one.
Okay.
They won this. They won the 3rd game. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
We'll just touch on this quickly, but this Julian Merriweather kid, man, just throwing 100 out of the bullpen. This is the guy they got for Josh Donaldson from the Cleveland Indians and a player to be named later, which everyone, including myself, was all up in arms. Like, it's all you can get for Donaldson. But, man, Ross Atkins definitely saw something in Merriweather, and man, he's showing electric stuff out of the bullpen.
So trades always look good or bad in hindsight, but this trade definitely is something that could act as a feather in the cap in Toronto.
Right.
As you know, Josh Donaldson, once he got to Minnesota, he loves to be on the DL. He loves to be on the IL, whatever they call it now.
He's hurt again. He's hurt again.
Hurt again on just running to first base and pulling. Josh Donaldson's a great player. Availability versus ability, whatever you want to say. I don't know what's going on there. So, yes, the trade looks amazing. Yes, the kid in Toronto's hitting great stuff in the bullpen. And, yes, Donaldson's always on the IL. So, it looks great. But just watching the Toronto games in general and knowing they're not even at full capacity.
Yeah, their best player hasn't even touched the field yet, right? So,
yep. And you look at, they didn't put up a bunch of runs in New York. 3-3 every game, actually. The same amount of runs every day. But to only give up the 1s, the 2, that shows your pitching staff is on it early. Right. So I'd be excited as a Blue Jays fan. Are you? What do you think?
Well, the biggest concern for me coming into the season was the bullpen, and they allowed 1 run in 14 and 3rd innings. So that's encouraging. I mean, you saw Romano come in. Romano basically got the save yesterday without getting credit for the save. He came in and got Judge, Torres, and Hicks in the 8th inning. I mean, sometimes you need your best guys in the 7th, 8th inning to keep the game in reach, right? So Merriweather came in, got the save. But, yeah, definitely some encouraging stuff to go out and take 2 or 3 from a team that you're kind of hunting down in the AL East. They got the lowly Texas Rangers starting today for 4. Then they go for the home opener against the Angels, which they hope to have Springer back for the April 8th home opener in Dunedin.
I'd be careful calling the Texas Rangers lowly. Those guys can score some runs, man.
Yeah, but I mean, the Kansas City's pitching isn't very good though. So
true.
We'll see. True. We'll see how that goes. Let's.
I like Duffy in Kansas City. He's a decent pitcher.
Yeah. Brady Singer, he kind of had a hiccup yesterday in his start, but he's going to be a big part of that future going on in Kansas City. Let's talk about the A's. I mean, the A's might be in trouble here. I mean, I'm not saying I'm hitting the panic button in 4 games, but dude, listen, the next 10 games they got the Dodgers and they got Houston again. You start the season in the AL West, 1-10, 2-8, 1-9. That's a huge hole to come out of, because if the Angels keep swinging like they have been and the Astros keep playing the way they are, they might be in trouble, Seth.
So I actually found myself watching this series probably the most opening weekend.
Right.
One of the good things about living out here on the West Coast is I don't have to stay up till 1 a.m. to see the Angels or the Dodgers or these California teams play.
Right.
Now I'm up at a normal time, so I did catch more of this series, I think, than most. Giving up this many runs to a Nationals team that has lost, George Springer. They've been in, all the past history of the last season and the way there's fans that are going to be greeting them, to give up 9 runs, to not even be competitive, to not even, really threaten this team in 3 games.
Every game was a blowout. They got scored 35-8. Like every
9,
game was 9-2, 9-2, 9-1. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. And then now, like you said, the schedule looks ahead to LA. It does not look good. We both thought the A's were going to be good. I still think they do have a chance. I'm not going to hit a panic button in Oakland.
Yeah.
And obviously the pitching needs to improve. I mean, you score 5 runs, you can win a game with 5 runs, but if you give up 9, pitching was a concern. The way the staff handled going after the hitters in Houston was kind of, it just seemed like first game of the season, second game of the season, just let's throw a couple pitches. We don't need to do a lot of strategy. It just didn't seem like a lot was behind it. Just sort of going through the motions as a staff. So that's the only thing. I think this will wake them up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of a shock to the system a little bit. Start season 0-4.
Yep.
Their bullpen kind of slept, but I still think that Oakland is the favorite in the AL West. They always find a way to get it done. At the end of the day, they'll be there. It's kind of one of those things. Corbin Burns and Jose Barrios did something that I haven't seen in a long time. They both took no hitters in the 6th inning. Barrios had 11 strikeouts. Corbin Burns had 12 strikeouts. Basically unhittable. Everybody goes nuts on Twitter, and what do you know? Corbin Burns gives up a single that first batter in the 7th inning. So that always happens to happen, but I was kind of
it wasn't a single, it was a home run.
It was a home run by Buxton. Sorry.
Home run.
Yeah, by Buxton. Jose Barrios pulled after 84 pitches. What was your thoughts on that?
So I did watch. Obviously, I mentioned in our first podcast, I grew up in the Midwest region, North Dakota. So Twins games were on all summer. So I grew up watching this division, and even though they're in different leagues, the rivalry between Milwaukee and Minnesota is a real one.
Right.
And it's fun to watch. I caught this game. I sent you a message about it, and of course, Buxton, who got pulled, by the way, in the game yesterday, hurt, sick, whatever it was. They haven't really discussed it. So he's not looking good already, even though he's an amazing player, one of my favorites to watch. Barrios,
shocker there. Buxton hurt. That can't be a thing.
I know. I think it's illness. I'm not 100% sure. Barrios is one of the best pitchers in the league. Saying, he's stuck in Minnesota, so no one people don't know about him. Baseball fans know about Barrios. And I think him getting pulled, Twins still had the lead. These pitchers are going to be responsible for over 1,000 more innings this season than they were last season.
Right.
I think managers are pitch counting them. They're, game managing them not because the pitchers can't handle it, but because there's so many more innings that they have to cover as pitchers this season. Right. That they're just
they play 100 more games this year. So than last year. So
something like 1,500. I can't remember the exact innings that are more. So I think the poll has nothing to do with performance that day because he was pitching, he was dealing.
Right.
I think it's literally just load management, and that's fine with me nowadays. The team no hitter is going to become more and more prevalent than the single pitcher no hitter, in my opinion.
We're long gone from the days of Doc Holliday just getting all these complete game shutouts. So definitely, analytics have also put a big dent into that from a pitcher standpoint. They usually don't let pitchers go over the 100 pitch plateau. They're usually pulled right around that mark. Berrios obviously probably a little bit upset. I mean, that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing to have no hit innings into the 7th inning. He'll
have another crack at one. I'm sure the way he pitches.
Yeah, he's good, but
Yep.
I mean, last year he kind of struggled last year, right? I mean, shortened season, but
yeah. Struggle is one way to put it. The circumstances of the last season, I think you throw away in your mind, in my opinion.
Cincinnati and St. Louis fireworks. Did you happen to catch that?
What was it? Castellanos, young kid.
Castellanos.
Yeah.
He kind of got pitched up and in, and then he walked, and then he was talking, and then he hit a ball in the gap. He scored, and then he was talking shit to Yadi Molina, and then
he said afterwards, he goes, "I was asking for an autograph."
Yeah,
yeah.
He was a guy. Did you see his quote at the end of the game?
He said,
"He said I can get a ball thrown on my head, and I'd still ask for Yadi Molina's autograph."
Yep, there you go.
Something like that.
And I will be honest, I didn't really catch much of this series at all. Since these aren't teams that really move the needle too much, and they're not, obviously Cincinnati's much lower on the total poll than your classic St. Louis Cardinals games. But I didn't catch a lot of it. I did see the brawl. It's nice little baseball hold me back type brawl. No one really got hurt, but yeah.
Quickly before we go to the NHL, the Mets and Washington was postponed. Washington can resume games against the Braves on Tuesday. They're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow. So that's good that they got that cleared up. They're able to get the negative tests that they needed to in order to get back playing baseball activities. That kind of leads into our next segment about COVID-19. We'll shift.
Hold on, just one more. I have one more surprise written down.
Okay.
For my baseball, and it was a good surprise. Fun to see our boy Miggy Cabrera starting the season in the snow, hitting a bomb.
Right.
Playing well. The guy is the ageless. Like I said, I watched this division all the time growing up. And when you watch Detroit back in the day when they had Cabrera rolling and they had that pitching staff that was sick, I respected the heck out of Detroit, and have Cabrera and his age still doing it. Right. I thought was a cool little surprise to start the season.
Yeah, he slid into second base, didn't know over the fence.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks COVID outbreak. Up to 20 players tested positive. This isn't even including the possible family members, kids that could have tested positive. But, I mean, last week I think it was Adam Gaudette who I think it was that Tuesday. So last Tuesday, I was the first player that tested positive. And then it was it just kept climbing. 4 players added, 5 players added, 6 players added, and now all of a sudden it's up to 20. Coaches have tested positive too, and the NHL expects that the whole team has tested positive for this virus. You live in BC. What is it like right now? I heard there's different strains of COVID now, and this from Brazil. Like, what is your take on this?
So the last couple of days, British Columbia, specifically like the Fraser Valley, the lower part of British Columbia, the more populated part, they have entered a new lockdown 3 weeks. They have broken records every day for new cases, and it's the Brazilian strain is the main one they're worried about. The good thing is they've shown that the vaccine, I don't know which player's been vaccinated, if any at all. The vaccine rollout in Canada is not a subject for this podcast. Let's just say the American teams probably are more vaccinated than the Canadian teams,
right?
And we'll leave it at that. So yes, it is serious here in British Columbia. It is hitting this province hard right now. Like you said, 20 players. You can follow on Instagram. You can see, the ones that are probably feeling pretty good, or Bo Horvat's posting happy Easter pictures with his kids. So you like to see that because that means he's probably feeling good.
You see,
the captain of your squad, you can look at some of their updates and see, but then there are a couple serious ones that you need to really take a step back on and not criticize the league right now,
right?
What's happening, because there are some serious ones. Yes, there are athletes in the top tier of physical performance, but it's family members, like you said, it's kids, so you still got to take it seriously.
Yeah. So I saw there was a couple cases where a couple players had to get hooked up to IVs in their homes by the medical staff of the Canucks. So like that's when you say like this is definitely more than a hockey game, more than a sport. This is people's lives at risk here. So I'm wondering if the NHL is just going to pull the plug on the Canucks season. There's 18 games left, 19 games left. I think they're 7-8 points out of a playoff spot right now. So I don't know what the NHL is going to do if the cases keep rising, and they have to have 2 weeks off minimum now, which they already had a week by. So now it's going to be 3 weeks off the ice. And the players are sick with this virus. Like, is it safe for the players to be off that long and be ill and then go right back into playing games? Like, I don't know if that's the smartest action to do. So the NHL is going to have to make up a plan here rather quickly in order for this North Division to fully play all their games, because I mean, it's already affected Calgary. Calgary's got games against Vancouver postponed. Edmonton had a game Saturday night against Vancouver postponed. So it's not just affecting the Canucks, it's affecting the North Division as a whole. So obviously not ideal. Obviously, I'm a Canucks fan. I love watching this team play, but I mean, it's getting to the point where it's like I don't even care if this team gets back on the ice anymore. I just want these athletes healthy again.
Yeah, about as far as stopping the season, I mean, no offense, but the season was over for the Canucks before this really happened. So maybe it's something the NHL can do, treat the North Division, or they can do it. It doesn't need to be the North, could be any of the divisions as their own league and say, okay, well, the North Division's only going to play such and such, and then you're going to, obviously decide a champion with your top four, but they can use the buffer week. Obviously, they built the buffer week into the season in May to make up, 2-3 games. But I think shutting down maybe the lower teams and just having the North Division act like its own league and to just represent and get their champion down to the states to play the other three.
Yeah,
I think is the best way. Whether you go points percentage, whether you say it's unfair advantage, the teams in Canada didn't play as many games. Well, right now I don't think the league cares. The league wants – I mean, no, that's the wrong way to put it. The league does care about people's health, but I don't think the league cares about the competitive advantage of the number of games that Toronto Maple Leafs played in April and May. Yeah. They just want to get a playoff. They just want to get the squads down here, whether Canada takes the 4 top teams and they bubble them up. Obviously, don't put them in Ontario because the lockdown, the cases in Ontario are going crazy. Don't put them in BC. Bubble them up. Back up in Edmonton or bubble them up in Winnipeg, something along those lines.
I think there's going to be a bubble for the conference finals and the cup finals. I think they're going to do a bubble.
They're going to have to.
I don't think they're going to do a bubble for all 16 teams because that will cost way too much money. But for 4 teams, I think that is definitely a possibility. I could see them going up to Edmonton again and playing their 3 rounds there and crowning a cup champion again, just like they did last year. But for this Canuck situation, this is not good. It's not good at all.
And get these Canadian teams, if they get down to the States, I mean, most of the teams in the States, without releasing medical information, have been vaccinated. You look at the Dallas Stars, what happened with them when they pulled their coach in the second period. Well, the coach has been vaccinated
twice. Yeah.
Twice. He's fully vaccinated. They pulled him because it ended up being a false positive. The same thing happened with Hudobin, the goalie. He was not going to start, and then it came back. It was a false positive because he's got a vaccine.
Yeah,
he's been vaccinated as well. So most of these teams down south have been vaccinated, and that's it just happens to be the country that they're in. Is my mom has been called 5-6 times in North Dakota about extra vaccines. It seems to be America's got this rollout on lock. So getting these teams out of Canada into a place in the States is probably good enough without a bubble, in my opinion.
Right.
You know.
Let's talk about Alexander Ovechkin. There's a debate. Me and Brad on our other podcast talk about this all the time. He thinks there's no chance that Alex Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's goal record, which I think is 894. I want to say 894, and right now he's in the mid 700s. So
started this season at 706. He's got how many goals this year?
I think he's got 20 goals this
20
year.
20 goals. So it's a 726.
726. Yeah. So I did the math. If he plays another 5 years, he needs to average 29 a season, which I think he's gonna have if they play a full 82, he's got at least one more 50 goal in him. I think he's got one more 50 in him, maybe a couple 40s, but the guy's still blowing pucks past goalies. Like, what is your take on that? Do you think he breaks it or not?
So I did some math too, Blake. Quick on the back of the napkin math. Going into this season, his goal rate, his goals per game was over 600. It was 613 goals per game. It has been trending down. It is now in the 500s. It's at 559, and the trend is going down. So I don't think he has another 50-goal season in him, but he doesn't need to have another 50-goal season in him because the guy stays healthy, stays on the ice.
Yep.
And he's got a team and an owner and a GM that are never going to healthy scratch Alex Ovechkin. He's going to be in the lineup. He's going to get the most opportunities on the power play. He's going to get the ice time that he needs for 4 or 5 years to do, like you said, 29, 30 goals a season.
Yeah.
I mean, does he take care he doesn't take care of his body like LeBron takes care of his body. LeBron, never get hurt in 18 years. Like Ovechkin he's a Russian hockey player, man. He's not eating kale salads, but he stays healthy. So I do think he does it, Blake. I'm with you. But I don't think it's going to be through a 50-goal spread because he is trending down because age, no matter what you say, age affects you. Whether it gets him injured, I don't know, but it's going to slow the guy down.
With the you can say all you want about the age, but the technology of the sticks these days, I mean, you can just wire pucks past goaltenders nowadays, and he doesn't seem
and the talk of NHL still trying to do something about the goals to increase the scoring.
Right.
And if he plays for another 5 years, the NHL is talking about rules or talking about things they can do.
Making goaltender equipment smaller, maybe making the nets bigger.
Goals smaller. Whatever they do, that's only going to help Ovechkin.
I hope they don't make the nets bigger. That would be tough because, I mean, as much as I like new things, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to that stuff. I mean, you don't touch the nets. I mean, the goalie equipment, maybe you could tinker a little bit. They already have. They made the pants a little smaller, the chest protector a little smaller. So, that
you as a Canucks fan, you should be all about a bigger goal because all those 100 posts that Pettersson hits would be turning into goals. I think he had 9 or 11 posts.
11 he has 11 posts in 22 games.
If they just took the goal and made it an inch bigger all the way around, that's 11. 9 more goals
it was actually crazy. Like when Pettersson was hitting all these posts, it was like, oh my god, like what is this skinny you just score? Like I think Pettersson has 11 posts and the next closest has like 5. Like it's ridiculous.
And I'd be honest, if the NHL just pulled a magician overnight trick and shipped out goals that are an inch circumference wide, bigger around, and just didn't tell anybody but the ice crew that drills the holes, would you think a goalie would even notice?
I think a goalie would notice. Yeah, 100%. I do.
You think 1 inch
on each side? I think they would notice for sure.
Okay.
I think
I'll just try to see if they can pull a sneaky one past.
Goalies are definitely a creature of habit. So a guy like Connor Hellebuck would definitely sneak that one out.
I trust your opinion when it comes to goalies, so I will I will step back on that comment.
Quickly before we end the show, San Jose Sharks 8-1-1 in their last 10, sneaking into a playoff spot, close to a playoff spot. Do you think they get in?
I do not. I don't. No. San Jose is a good story sometimes. Their playoff heartbreaks get you, but I don't see it happening this season. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of Sharks games. Obviously, when they're in the Canucks, when there's border travel and everything, you pay more attention to the Vegases, you pay more attention to Arizonas, whatever you can. But up here in Canada, it's all North Division all the time, so I don't get to watch a lot of Sharks games. But I don't think they do. I don't think they have the stretch run in them.
I had LA making the playoffs, and that prediction is not looking good right now. I mean,
hey, you got to step out on a limb sometimes.
They do have some games in hand. They have what are they back here? 7 games back of Arizona for the last playoff spot. 2 games in hand on them. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Arizona. I mean, minus 15 goal differential in their playoff spots. That's mind blowing to me. That means they're winning a lot of close games, and the games they're losing, they're getting blown out. So that'll do it for episode 2 of Pucks and Pine Tar. We'll be back.
Masters predictions, Blake?
Oh, sorry. Masters predictions quickly. Masters predictions.
Koepka said he's going to play. Spieth just won the Valero Texas Open. DeChambeau's on the range right now, warming up. Do you think DJ repeats? I put you on the spot. I know we can talk about it on Monday how it went. But I love the Masters. I love watching it. I think it's amazing.
I'm gonna make the safe. Tournament. I'm gonna go with the safe bet. I'm gonna say DJ repeats.
Wow, safe bet. A repeat winner is not very safe.
That's a safe bet because Dustin Johnson is the man. He's number 1 golfer in the world for a reason right now, correct? Am I wrong there? He's number 1 guy?
Yeah, he's still number 1. Yep.
So, I mean, I don't think you can ever go wrong with something like that. Who you got?
I'm going to go – I'll give you –
Seth's going off the board, just so you know.
I'll go 1 off the board just because I want to see it happen so bad. My 1 off the board, Ricky Fowler. He's gonna put the orange away. He's gonna wear black. He's gonna take it serious because he's been having a bad year, and he's got to get that stink off him, that major stink. And it is even in the field. I have to check first off if he made the dang Masters.
What about Rory? You're a big Rory guy?
Not a Rory guy.
No,
not a Rory guy. If Fowler's in the field, that's my off the color pick, off the wall pick. My regular pick, I think that Spieth's going to go. Yep.
He had a bad Masters last year, didn't he?
Yeah, a meltdown. I think he had a meltdown on 14, I believe. Put a couple in the water.
Yeah. So, okay. Sorry about that, Seth. I forgot to put the Master predictions in there, but that will do it for episode 2. We'll be back. This will be on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube on Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a rate and review on iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify, and we greatly appreciate that. Take care, guys.
Yep.